First and foremost, we went to an independent investigation that week following the AFC Championship game. All of that focus was put to Ted Wells at that point in time in supporting him, cooperating with him fully, and making sure he had any information we had. And there was no more discussion about any public discussion. It was Ted Wells' investigation. When the ownership instills in the commissioner, and he negotiated that with the union in the collective bargaining agreement, the authority of the commissioner to protect the integrity of the game. And in particular, the personal conduct policy outside of that. So those are very important initiatives. That's my job. It's my responsibility.
That was NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell speaking about the Deflategate investigation that involves New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady. Both Goodell and Brady will appear before a federal judge later today here in New York. Joining us now, ESPN national correspondent Sal Paolantonio and former MLB investigator John Dowd, who was asked in 1989 to investigate allegations that Pete Rose had placed bets on baseball and filed a landmark report. Gentlemen, good morning. Good to see you.
Morning. Good morning.
Sal, we'll talk about the Jets in just a second. The quarterback getting punched in the mouth.
What's going on?
Oh, my God.
Sucker punch.
But I want to ask you first, Sal, how we here. I remember when the story broke, it was okay. It's a story about a few deflated footballs. Now it's taken on the tone of a congressional investigation, of a big trial. How did we get here?
Remember, we wondered how a third-rate burglary could turn into a presidential crisis and a crisis of the Constitution.
Oh,
well, that's exactly what we have here. We have a misdemeanor equipment violation that's turned into a federal case. And really, it's an historic day in the history of American sports. You've never had an NFL commissioner and the golden boy of his sport, you know, in the same courtroom in front of a federal judge. And now the federal judge has really become the most powerful guy in all of pro football.
Yeah. John, two questions for you. One is, I am now having trouble trying to figure out, what is he being punished for? Is he being punished for deflated footballs or not cooperating with the National Football League during the course of an investigation? This is off of the NFL's rhetoric. And we just heard the commissioner talk about the Wells report as an independent investigation. And yet in their court filing last week, they in essence said it was not an independent investigation.
You know, this whole thing is a mess. I've never understood what the violation was. There's no evidence that Tom told anybody to deflate the football. And it's an issue where all teams were handling their own footballs. And each team had different officiating crews and different measurements. So how you inject a standard into that is beyond me. But then the conflicts just keep occurring. You know, first they told Tom, look, we don't need the phone, just give us the records. We give him the records, and the commissioner blindsides him with, you obstructed justice by destroying your phone. Well, you know, the phone was made inoperable after Wells told him he didn't need the phone. Then the investigation wasn't independent. Well, if it's not independent, it's not worthy of trust or belief. Investigations, in my experience, have to have integrity, and they have to have fairness. If they don't have that, they're not dependable for anyone.
Sal, what is the deal with the charge itself? The NFL does not correct, you know, the initial thing, 11 out of 12 footballs. That's what was reported initially. They never made a correction on that. They never issued a correction on that.
Yeah, well, Mike, we've gone really beyond the facts of the case. Unfortunately, I don't think the facts of the case are going to be part of any of the hearing today or if it goes to August 19th. I think now what's at stake is the power of the commissioner's office. The NFL Players Association and Tom Brady have decided to take this to court to try to get a penalty overturned. And the bottom line is the judge must decide if the commissioner was right to be the final arbiter in this case, which is under the CBA, the commissioner's right. It has been for nearly 40 years. Whether the penalty was excessive and whether the law of the shop, the NFLPA's law of the shop in the CBA between the players and the league was violated because Tom Brady did not have enough warning that he was going to get a suspension for an equipment violation.
Oh, my God.
To answer your question, the answer is I don't know. Based on the record, I don't know. Because I don't know, I mean, there just isn't any evidence that a violation occurred. I mean, it's all speculation, and they didn't prove it. And what's troubled me from the beginning is how long this all took. It occurred on the AFC game. They were already investigating it. If I were commissioner, I'd have had that thing wrapped up in 2 days before the Super Bowl, so you wouldn't have any issue on the footballs. But they played the second half with properly inflated footballs. Patriots won the game. Who got hurt? What happened here? And that goes to this whole federal case business. We're making something out of nothing. And it really is nothing. I don't see any basis to waste all this time. And what happens is when you start that process, then it becomes a gigantic mess because, the investigators covered his backside. Now we've got the commissioner covering his backside. Federal judge has got a big job here today. But I'll tell you what, it's a different ballpark when you got a federal judge telling you, I want an offer on the table. Yeah. Because he's going to tell you in private what he thinks of your case. You're not going to like it. That's how he gets to...
And Judge Berman has taken control of this case. He told them, I want settlement talks, and they weren't going anywhere. And he told them, I want you in the robing room at 10:30 this morning prior to going into court so I can figure out where both sides are. And, now it's in the hands of the judge. If he's not satisfied with what he hears in that robing room, I think both sides are not going to get an outcome that they like.
Real quick before we go, Sal, what is going on here? Geno Smith, Jets quarterback, gets, he says, sucker punched in the jaw in the Jets locker room. Out, 6 weeks, something like that?
6 to 10 weeks with a broken jaw.
The guy, the young linebacker who punched him has been cut from the team.
Yeah.
It's the most Jets thing ever.
It really is. It's one of those things. And Todd Bowles, here's a guy who's got tremendous credibility around the National Football League as a new Jets head coach, and you would think that this kind of thing would not happen under his watch. It would be more of a Rex Ryan thing than a Todd Bowles thing. But now, it's Ryan Fitzpatrick, your Harvard boy.
Yeah.
And it was over.
Is there any truth to the rumor, you guys might know, that Geno Smith attempted to punch back, but his punch was intercepted?
This was all a big setup for that joke. It was a long road to get.
Time to wrap.
Patriot Nation is
Willie, wrap it.
Thank you, Sal. All right, we're going to be watching that hearing today. Sal, John, thanks so much. Great to see you.